pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
September 13th, being recorded.
I'll let Kurt in.
In
case anybody comes in this way.
Principal's office now. You can make that move if you want.
Oh, whatever.
Okay.
I think you would.
Anyone wishing to address the board? Talking about coming across my property and I want some kind of right-of-way agreement. I'd like to know, just for instance, what size lines going in there? 8 inch, I believe.
Same size.
I don't know what same size is, Brian.
Okay, well, it's 8 inches. You said
Okay,
that.
8 inches. How deep's it gonna go?
I don't know that off the top of my head. It's not a very deep line. 3 or 4 feet possibly.
How wide's the right-of-way gonna have to be?
What, I think that would depend on, I guess I'm interjecting.
No, what, I don't know, what do they have? 10 feet on each side?
There's
Normal, when I sent you over, it's normally 20 foot. It's 10 feet from whether the center, however you map it out. But normally they don't need that much, but just to be safe.
well, for a shallow trench, like if
Yeah.
in the right of way, for a shallow trench. So in a sense, if you have 10 feet either, if it's 20 foot, and you have 10 foot either side. If you're trenching a 3-foot trench, or 2 foot, you know, if for your spoils on one side, doesn't leave much room. But I think you could make it work in a 20 foot.
So I talked to Tony earlier about this, because I talked to Roger yesterday. When we did any of these other ones, did we go back and indeed see that the right-of-way existed? Or that the easement existed?
I don't think so.
No,
Okay.
the only one was Christine Woods, when we crossed her property. That was a new line, and
So we
established
put-
right away there.
I did it right away for her.
You know, and she was like, yeah, whatever.
Well, then that's fine, but in talking with Tony, because we plan on doing a lot more of this stuff, right, as practice going forward. Working with Jones Township, we're doing a lot of new water lines, we've had a lot of, since 2014, just half the town's been redone. We got construction easements that went in and had the property owner sign, and most are being good sports about it. And if not, well, then you have to eminent domain it, that's fine too. But I think as a practice moving forward, when we go to change lines, instead of going through, paying somebody to abstract and go back and look for something that should have been done in the 30s or 40s, which very well may have been done, but it's changed hands so many times, for the minimal cost and effort of going through, just get it done now with everybody, have them sign it. It's pretty straightforward. We do small sections at a time, it's usually 4 or 5 property owners. And then we got it for 50 years from now when we're all dead, and somebody else goes through and we gotta fix this thing, because it will dissolve and will need work. That way, the next person owns Roger's property, his grandson doesn't have to go, do you have one? Well, yeah, right here on this deed, right here, it's attached. It's not gonna cost us much more, and it'll make it much clearer when we have to do stuff, because all we go on right now, as far as I'm concerned, is, well, it was theirs for grandfather, with or without, and most people are decent, but we don't live in a handshake world anymore. People are trying to sue you all the time, and we can put in there on how the site's gonna be put back, and the construction easement. Some people want their trees laid down, David doesn't care, Roger might. Maybe they want grass, maybe they want something else, we can put those in so that when we break ground, everybody signed, nobody can come back, you signed it, this is what it was. And that's something that you can do and have done for multiple different municipalities relatively quickly, correctly? So,
I would need the maps, and Kurt, and I need the deed references. And what I normally do is I get the deed, I get a copy of the deed just to make sure, like I guess you guys told me on the phone, I did the deed there. There was, I thought 300 of them. But sometimes the engineers, when they get their stuff, they don't, the information sometimes from the assessment office isn't the same as in the deed. So I always get the deed just to make sure that we have the names right on the people. But, yeah, and I think it would be cheaper to do the right of ways and we'd go back and look. And we sold the Kane sewer system up there, and you know, they had some right of ways, but they looked at everybody's, and then there were a whole bunch that didn't have, so we had to do the same thing. We did some right of ways up there, and I did an eminent domain for the people who wouldn't sign it, but I think it would be cheaper to probably just do the new right of ways, and it would be a good search. You could search, and you might find them. If you're doing 4 of them, maybe the borough had to, maybe they didn't have to, but you'd still have to do that if you didn't find them, you know, so, to me, I think it was a cheaper route to go.
Well, that stuff would have the information that Roger's looking for, size of right of way, depth, excavation,
They
things of
wouldn't
that
have the
nature.
depth, well, I don't know if you show that on the map, but.
I would say for a right of way, it'd be 8 to the foot of the depth, and maybe you probably don't see that too often.
Depths normally aren't on there, but sewer lines
Even
are
size.
normally very
It's something we
deep.
could give the design to the property owner, or just be a
Well,
simple
You
copy.
could let him know, I guess, how deep you're going, but.
Yeah. And some of there's a ditch right there where it's exposed by Warren's property, or whatever that company is. So, you know, it's similar depth to what that is. Just out of curiosity, were you not aware that the line crossed your property?
Oh, no, I knew it crossed it.
Okay.
I knew old man Salvucci dug it too.
Okay.
He wouldn't let sewer people on the property, he dug it himself and put the line in himself.
Okay.
That's why I'm aware of it.
Mhm.
David Lance wasn't aware of what happened on his property, and he talked to me, he said he'd like to be here tonight, but, he had a volleyball game with his daughter at 6 o'clock down at St. Mary's, and he said, just, nobody's going across my property until I got something legal.
And that back then, that was Rich's property.
Yeah.
I think that's a good, for us moving forward, to cover our ass, to be forthright with the citizens and the property owners, if whether it was yours or mine or whoever's, here's a piece of paper and we signed off on it. To Kurt's point, I think it would behoove us at this point, if we're gonna put in a standard practice, instead of piecemealing all these right-of-ways, set a right-of-way that would work for any depth.
Well, you could.
That way we don't have to change it. I mean, if it's gotta be a 30-foot working right-of-way or what we need, because
I've
maybe
never
we
seen,
have to
I've never
readjust.
seen like a depth thing on there.
No, I mean,
But I've done the widths, normally it's by what the engineer recommends, I'm just saying normally they're 20 feet. If you need a wide, sometimes you might need a wide one in certain spots, so it's whatever the engineer recommends that they would need to be reasonable for the line that you're putting in. So-
Well, I think what Brett's alluded to, I don't know that the depth would have to be on the right of way.
No, just the
Depth can
standard
vary
right-of-way
according
that,
to elevation.
Well, the depth will vary, but if you're 20 feet deep for a sewer line, which happens sometimes, when we're out on the west end, we're 13 or 14 feet. So if you're digging a hole 4 feet wide for a trench box, you're not gonna, you already lost 2 feet of your 10 feet. So then you have to put all your dirt on that. So if you're gonna confine your workspace to your right of way, you almost need, like, for that deep, you almost need a 50-foot right of way.
Well, I've seen them wider, I've never seen them smaller than 20 feet.
Yeah, 20 foot would be like the bare minimum, because
Yeah.
even with the trench, even with a 3-foot trench, say you're digging I don't know what bucket, it's up to the contractor what bucket they use. So say it's a 4-foot bucket, you take up 2 feet, you're left with 7 feet to keep, your workspace and your dirt pile there.
and then you gotta keep all your
EMS control.
EMS and
everything like that.
What about this, and I've seen this a couple different times, is they have a construction easement, or right away, and then they have a maintenance right away, because most times you're just doing a repair,
Mhm.
a 20-foot will do.
Well,
But
no,
during the
usually-
initial,
Usually it's the same, I have language in there that covers it, I didn't bring one of those along, I sent Kurt over a couple of them.
Mhm.
But it just says in there that they have the right to install it and maintain it.
yeah,
Which may go
20-foot would
beyond.
be fine, but if you're constructing it, we don't need any more than 20 to maintain it, or do a little dig, but if you gotta go in deeper,
Right.
maybe it is a 30 or 40 that we need initially.
So if the right of way is 20 feet, but there's an exception that if you have to do work on it during construction, it might go outside of that boundary, that would be acceptable.
Because I've seen them with a construction easement than a maintenance, because you need more for construction than you do maintenance to give a spot. How many people do we have crossing this? Roger, David Lance,
Kansas
Mountain
State,
Good, Kansas
Kansas
State.
State, he already said there's no problem, do whatever they want, he had no, that's Jim Houston.
Yeah,
And then we won't be on the property.
Where are you talking Kansas States?
it pulls a point in there, does it not?
Yeah, there's a tax, this is based on tax maps, so
Oh,
it's
is
not
that-
survey quality.
Is that right there with it, Roger, if you wanna?
Mhm. So So this is David Lance.
Yeah,
So this is off of Lumber Street.
Right.
There's a manhole, and we come down, that's David's water line.
right.
This is a borough right away, or like an old, I don't wanna call it.
It's a railroad-
Borough owned, we'll
It's,
say.
it's a railroad grade, and it actually belongs to David because it's a rich estate.
Okay, well, just, the county's calling it this.
Yeah,
So there's a manhole, so this line comes across, the Kane estate is this parcel. So where yours crosses is from there to there, and then that is, I believe that's owned by the Warrens, it's a holding company.
okay. So it's just that short section,
Well, so based on tax maps, it's about 100 feet, but it is that short section, but just keep in mind, these are recent tax maps, not surveyed, we didn't survey the property lines. So
Right.
there's gonna be some plus or minus in there.
okay.
So
Cause I was gonna say, this piece of property over here off of that Warren, that belongs to my next door neighbor, the Weavers.
Okay.
Because a long time ago, Kane Estate sold that to the Weavers.
I'm suspecting a lot of that was all one
Mhm.
parcel at some time.
Yes, it was.
Mhm.
Well, that's a bad thing, is we find so much, especially in this town, except for the assessment office. Surveys are terrible, people haven't done them, they didn't get transferred, things of that nature. I guess Mount Jewett and Port Allegheny, I heard.
So Roger, were you okay with Tony going ahead and drawing it up and putting that into
Yeah, I
the
was
deed?
just curious about what size excavator, or what, I mean, going across the property and doing whatever.
We're gonna fix
the
it back
min-
up.
the minimal amount of space that you can use, I would prefer.
Well, we're gonna fix it back up too.
Right, well, you're not gonna plant trees back.
No.
Well, that bears into it too. David had stated he didn't care if we left it.
If you lay it down, I want the wood, that's all I want.
Do we think as a board that that's not a terrible idea moving forward, that we should start doing these when we do these sections? To have it
Yeah.
down the road? You advise that?
Oh, yeah, I think it's a good, then you have, Kelly can keep a file where you just keep all the right of
Very
ways.
good.
They'll be filed at the county as well, correct?
Well, they'll be recorded, but
They're
it's
recorded.
good, it'd be good if you keep a file for them up here, because like, you said like 20 years from now, somebody's looking back, oh, do we have a property on, or a right of way for the property that Roger Rush used to own? Well, I have a file now where you can use it to find it.
Right.
Sometimes it's harder, and more expensive to go through the courthouse, but yeah, I usually keep a file of everything too, I usually keep all the right of ways and then I give one to the client, so.
I think you'd actually be better off having a plan than to not just go and get right of ways for everything. Not necessarily what's gonna happen, because, hypothetically, if you did wanna sell the authority for whatever, for whatever reason,
Just
no one's gonna wanna buy it without,
Well, they
like,
require, that's what we
Well,
had to do.
you
up in
gotta
Kansas.
have it, but the other thing is, okay, we gotta go work on, John Hydock's today, or last week, and Brian's, right there in front of the sidewalk on right away on Main Street.
I think most that's in state right away, so it makes it a little bit easier.
But still, okay, behind the fire hall or back here in an alley, these
Right.
places, well, we gotta fix sewer line, well, you're not coming on my property, well, we got a right away, do you? Now we got DP up our butt because we got sewage leak underground, this property owner won't let us in, and they don't have to, because we don't have the right away, legal right to say we have to.
Yeah, there might be some protection from you for an authority to be able to go in and service sewer line, that'd be a Tony thing.
There's a lot of places, we don't know if it's ours or they
Well,
through.
I've talked to David Lance, and his request was if we mess up the water, we fix the line, which we put that in the bid. And he also asked that for us to get the right of way, that he would have a free tap in if he decided to build down there. So,
Well, that's something we'd have to motion, what's the cost of the tap in at this point in time?
What is it, tap-in fee?
That's what I'm saying. What's the
Tap-in fee, $700, I don't know how much it costs to put a tap in, but that's
Well, I
how
mean,
much we
just,
charge.
We wouldn't charge a fee, you didn't ask for us to pay for it.
No,
We would've
no.
If you decided
Just waive
to.
the fee,
right,
And-
it's $700.
He has no idea if he's gonna do anything.
Well,
or
that's the
not,
thing, he may not. If that's a caveat to crossing it, I guess we got a motion, don't we?
yeah. Waiting for a motion.
I make a motion.
so. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
You good, Raj?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm fine.
okay, let me ask you a question before you leave. If we get this project, wanting to get this project going, Can we go ahead and do it and then just get the agreement to you later? Cause like I said, we're gonna run out of time to do any, if we do it this year.
Well, how big a job is it for you to get the maps?
I could pull it together, it'll be fine.
Yeah, I would say we can get it done relatively quickly.
What's that?
Right ways.
I know that, but I mean.
Time frame,
Well, I mean.
2 weeks?
I would say if you get me the deed book and page number and the maps, like a map that I can attach to it, then probably.
You probably have to get the deed from Roger.
No,
No.
Kurt can just
Okay.
give me,
Get them books.
he can just give me the deed book and the page number. We can
Okay.
get 'em, but I would say, probably within a week. Now, I'm off the first week of October, but other than that, I'd say roughly from the time I get the maps and things, I could
Well,
probably
if
get
you
it done
can
in
get
a
it,
week or so.
if you can get it to us, we don't need you to have Roger sign it, do we? That's
No,
something
no,
that's-
normally all you get is, are you guys, one of you guys a notary?
No, we
Bank.
got notaries at the bank though.
So like, yeah, normally what I would do is I would get the 4 right-of-ways up here to you guys, and then you can just stop in here.
Right.
And then if you have to walk over to the bank to sign or whatever, then, get them back to me and I'll put in the letter to you, like, the recording costs and all that type thing, but no. So I don't think it should be a long process, Brian.
I'm just saying, if we decide to go ahead with this project, we may wanna start within a month or so.
No,
We
we
do
take
that.
a week.
It'd be
Yeah,
done-
we-
hopefully
two
be
weeks,
done
you'll
by
have
then,
paperwork.
yeah.
Okay, so, okay,
That-
well, I
that-
just wanted to
my
make sure.
only thing is I don't know if there's a contractor, but the contractor may not wanna do it unless you have the right of ways too, you know what I mean? So I don't know if this is something you bid and you have a general
They
contractor.
never asked any before for it.
Sometimes they do, because,
Well, it protects their ass.
yeah, right, they don't wanna be there, yeah.
I think 2 weeks isn't gonna stop it, they worked all winter on these other ones.
Right, yeah.
If 2 weeks isn't gonna stop it, and that's our plan moving forward, is to get these, or maybe acquire a few a year, or however we wanna do it, on projects that we might wanna do.
The other ones we can do at your leisure, whenever you want, but like these 4, just to get those done quickly, we can do that.
Me, Ernie, I would like to see a motion presented that any projects moving forward, we obtain right of ways before we do it.
Can I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to that effect.
All in favor? Aye. Alrighty. Thanks, Roger.
Yep, have a good evening.
Roger.
Do you have anything, Tony?
Nope.
Or
ESH.
engineers report?
You've seen it 1,000 times on bills before.
Wait.
So we received the bids, I brought the results up here, and Neil had emailed those out, but Cummins was a low bid at 66,000. We had Cummins, Console, Duffy, and Elsie Whitford.
Yes.
Brett sent me the pump down results just today, so I put those in, I emailed them up to Kelly as well. So, when we tested the pumps in March, with one pump running, it was 92 gallons per minute. And this last flow test with one pump is 117 gallons per minute. I think it was like a 21% or so increase. And then with the 2 pumps running in March, it was 100 gallons per minute total. And this time it was 141 gallons per minute total. So,
Still
We'll be
down
greasing
to what
and
our
flushing.
pumps are supposed to.
I
produce,
think,
pump
I have to,
pressure.
I did not get a chance to look at that again. I know we discussed that last time. I don't think it's too far off from what we think we should be getting. I could be wrong though. I'd have to look at that again. So, it's good to show that, it shows an increase after degreasing and jetting, so.
And then we're gonna do it again.
I did
degreased
today, we just gotta get it flushed again and
Right.
see if it benefits anymore. Kurt looks at it, we're pretty well at the top end. We talked, I think last month, about perpetual maintenance and a drip feed of some sort to try and figure out what we need to put in there to keep it from building up again.
What's it cost for 2 of them, 35 gallon drums, what was that?
Well, I got 3. It's like $175 for 3 7-gallon. It's like $23 a
We got
gallon or
4.
something like that.
Okay,
Okay,
so
it's like $23 a gallon
But
is
you
what I
get
broke down
cheaper
to.
with the, like
Yeah, if you buy the
30.
55-gallon drum, it's a lot cheaper. I don't have the price in front of me,
Well,
obviously,
so
but
it's minimal cost that if we had.
I don't know how much a 55-gallon holds.
No, I'm just saying,
but
if it's only so much a gallon, like say, it's
I
not
know it's-
thousands
yeah.
of dollars.
I know it's like $23 per gallon for the 7 gallons.
It's the big things, we gotta figure out how much do we need to put in at a time to maintain what we got, because if we don't need a 55-gallon drum, if it's a drop feed you're putting in, like the 55-gallon drum I use for sodium hypochlorite down to the sewer ponds, one of those lasted me 53 days. I put in about a gallon a day to achieve the output that we need. Do we need that much? Can we get 2 7s, or just easier to handle, you know what I mean, and maybe get one once a month?
Personally, I don't know that you should monkey with the drip feed, just like based on the manufacturer recommendations and how, I guess typically a degreaser, like you would dose it with a high concentration and let it break down, then you flush it. So usually if it's a low concentration, I don't know if it's gonna give you a whole lot of
Actually,
effect.
that makes sense. Because when I use it at other places, with Jones Township, I dump a whole 7-gallon one in, stir it up, and send it down the line.
You know, that's,
But for the most part, I'm trying to achieve breakdown in the pump station, which we don't have a whole hell of a lot of. But I have noticed since we've seemed to have lowered the flow down there, we do add, when I first started, we had no crust, we had no buildup that I ever saw on the walls and bricks. Now that it seems like it's sitting there longer, we do, which I think is good for what we're trying to achieve, but the more you concentrate the sewage and get out the I&I,
yeah, makes sense.
the more you're gonna have.
Right. So perhaps the target would be the well-being of the pump station more than the line with the degreaser.
Once you get it out of the line, you're not gonna have it. If you homogenize it and send it out, you're not gonna have a problem.
Right. Yeah, so it could make sense for that, I guess. And as far as the rate, you're probably gonna, the manufacturer gonna put information on it, so you're probably gonna be more trial and error. You know, feed it at a rate, if you see good results, then you know, start it out at a low rate, and if nothing's happening, you could increase it until you see something that's happening.
If you're seeing a large amount, maybe just do $1 a month. It costs $100 a month to maintenance that and try and keep it down.
Yeah.
But we're gonna use the 2 we have now,
I
right?
already did, I use them today, they're
But
gone.
then we probably should buy another couple and have them on hand, cause it's not that much money, really.
We wanna use them once a month and just dump when I take the reed down to the flow once a month, dump a bucket in and pump it down into the line, let it sit and do its thing.
Well, if we're gonna do that, like where it's once a month thing, maybe he can give me a deal where it's an auto ship thing, and I get
55 gallons, I mean, I'm
Yeah.
fine, but we gotta borrow the hook, and it's just pain in the ass, just getting it from here to there, one guy, the door's only that big. I didn't know 55 gallon might fit, I don't know.
No, but I'd say just give the jugs.
I'll see if he can give me a deal. To where if we're buying
we
it monthly,
wanna-
we might get a
on that?
percentage
I'll
off or
I'll
something.
make a motion, we get a couple more of them jugs and have them, so,
What, at least 2?
yeah. Then we dump one down next month and one down the following month.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Is that it for the engineering report?
Yeah, I guess I jumped over the contracts a little bit too much. So in a sense, we received it, so if we want to move forward, I think you'd have to have a motion to move forward to accept the lowest bidder.
I'll make the motion and we give it to Duffy. You checked all the paperwork out, right?
It's Cummins.
Cummings, yeah, that's
Cummings.
what I meant, Cummings.
Apples, apples. You're happy with those apples, I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Do you want to do anything conditional on right of way to make sure that, pending right of way approval or pending,
Well, we know we're not gonna start till we get the right of way, we motioned that, so
that's fine.
I don't know that needs to be.
I'm sure he's not gonna be able, by the time he gets the stuff ordered, it's gonna take him probably a month anyway, so. You put something in there that you gotta wait and get an agreement, so.
Alright, while we're on this bid acceptance and project, Butch, I apologize, I don't see you, and last time I called you, you had a voicemail box wasn't set up, so I'd like to talk to you more, but I've talked to Ernie and Brian and Barb about it. This is no slight against you, Kurt, or anything else. I've never done a bid awarding where it wasn't in our office, and where the secretary didn't have the bid documents here. I think it was, honestly, it cost us 2 weeks, because if we had a special meeting, we could have approved it here pending your review and been done, and everything would have been done in-house. I have no problem with you getting them ready and putting them out and sending and mailing them to everybody. But to open it at your place instead of here where we can take official business and everybody can be here and have it advertised, because you had to advertise it there anyhow. You just basically advertised a meeting that had no teeth in it. You couldn't do anything with the meeting. You couldn't accept it, so why? We could have easily scanned and faxed all the results to you and done it, and I've never seen it done that way. Moving forward, when we talk about putting something out for bid, I'd like to know how we're gonna lay it out, where it's gonna be at the meeting, so that we know exactly when and how it's gonna happen.
But we did lay it out in the meeting.
That it was gonna be done at Kurt's office?
Yes.
I don't remember that, I don't
No.
recall that.
No. You just said we were gonna go out for bid, that's all you said, and that
And
was
Kurt was
it.
gonna handle.
We made a motion to go out for
He
bid and that Kurt was gonna.
So moving forward, as one sewer board member, I for one say that we do these in our office and mail them to our engineer, fax them, scan them. He can look at them online or be here in person to do it, but then it's taken care of. Obviously, that's gonna cost us for him to be here, but he's gotta look at them anyhow. He sets them out, bids them out, but to do it in his office, I'm not okay with. It doesn't need to be brought up any more than that, but at the next time we do a bid, while I'm on the board, I'll bring it up. Okay?
Well, I guess I feel like saying, like, there was nothing underhanded or
No.
sneaky or anything.
Oh,
So,
nobody
but-
said no.
Well, I just,
Well,
the point is, you get them in and have them reviewed for the next meeting. It wasn't supposed to be an official meeting. We did it once before.
I know, I've just never done it while I've been on board. I'm not saying that it's anything slight or underhanded. I'm not driving to Bradford to look at a bid that should be done, as far as I'm concerned, in the office that I work out of. You know what I mean, that this board works out of.
but I will tell you too, my wife works down at McKean County Housing Authority and they don't open them up in the boardroom. They go to the on-site or
Well,
the
that's-
engineers.
That's fine, but when we do our next bid, we can bring that up, and if it's outvoted, that's fine, but I for one would rather have it done here at a meeting where we can accept at that time pending the review, instead of look at it and wait for 3 weeks, because to me, it's redundant, it's a waste of time.
Well, you can set your meeting up in your bid. You know,
That's what
when
I'm
you
saying.
set it up, you set a bid time, they're gonna be open. You can advertise a meeting for that same time.
They're going to open them at a special meeting to accept the bids pending the review of the engineer. And then this would have been done, we wouldn't have had to deal with it, and the right-of-way could have been dealt with 2 weeks ago, and we'd have been ready to go. That's my opinion. I'm not gonna talk anymore, because it's a moot point until we do something else, but I've talked to you about it, Barb about it, Bush letting you know how I feel about it. Next time we do one, if it doesn't feel that way, that's fine. That's, I'm gonna book it, so. That was just while we're on it.
Is that it, Kurt? Have a motion?
Got it?
All in favor? Aye.
Yeah.
Maintenance report.
Yeah, I have a verbal one, and I had the East End pump station on there. Kurt Rewall covered that one. We had the meter removed out to the particle board by Duffy's, that kind of turned into a little something, but we got that taken out, it's been shipped off. No date on time or when that's going to come back. I got a price on manhole covers for our smoke test. When we went out and did the smoke tests around town, we found, around the East End section, we found a couple of manholes. We found one by mixes that we didn't really know was there. We thought it was a clean out, and it did not have, it was very entrenched, and it did not have one of those covers in it. I went and got prices on covers. I was shocked at how expensive all those plastic covers are. They're about $120 a pop for plastic covers, so we can get some, but they're size oriented. So I was thinking they'd come in and a one size fits all, but then you get thinking about it, the different foundries and everything, they're like 26 inch to 31 inches, and then they go up and down. I don't know why I was thinking they were gonna be more like $40 a piece, and we can get a pack of them so we can throw them in, but they're 116, and then you throw in shipping. 26 to 31.99 is probably close to most of ours. I would assume the most standard ones,
Diameter wise, you mean?
diameter wise.
Are the most of your lids flat lids, or they have
They're all
a
flat.
big grill on the bottom? If you get ones that are shallower, it might be better, because sometimes they're tough to pull when they're.
Oh, they
water.
are. lost count of them. But these are just the ones I can find, and the cheapest ones, now they make them up to $200, so. That one definitely needs something, either that or it needs a riser, and to put a riser on it, I think it's gonna be far more than just this thing, so. I didn't know if we wanted to buy a couple and have them, but they're not cheap. Blown out plastic with a little hoop on them. So, that was something, because I know we have a couple that, there's some throughout town that, yeah, probably need them, but they're not in our overflow zone. You know, I know there's some that take in water, but they go down to the pond, and I'm not overly concerned with those ones right now, but the ones that go to the east end need something. So if you wanna do some of that, food for thought. We did the smoke test, we were around for that. There's 2 sections that I need to camera yet. They shouldn't take long, and my plan was last week, but I got, I don't know if I had, the test said I didn't have COVID, but I was sick as hell for the better part of the whole week, so that didn't happen, and we had rain, but I wanna get that done, in the next week. Going out behind, Chestnut Street, where it turns to Keesler, those couple houses back behind, Crowley's garage, to see where they are, cause there's 2 tore down houses. One might be plugged in the basement, but if it's actually at the line, cause it's smoking through the yard, and that other one is smoking out of the basement, we gotta decide what we're gonna make those people do, you know what I mean? And then, did we send letters to Hughes?
Not yet.
Anybody, anything after
Not
the
yet, cause
smoke
I've
test?
been waiting for you to tell me what you want me to tell him.
We gotta decide what we wanna do, but Hughes's place, I mean, that was just blowing out of his,
Yeah.
it was actually separated where it comes out of his old trailer that's fallen down, and it ties with his house.
What's he gonna do with the trailer?
It's fallen over, so. but
I know
the
he
thing is,
doesn't
we still got, I mean,
correspond.
it goes right to a T and it's separated right off there, it'd be easy enough to, I mean, he's gotta dig down and cap it if he wants to use it, he could, I suppose, but the trailer's not inhabitable, and I don't know, we didn't see anything from the line from his house that we knew was his. That's why I kinda wanna get a camera and see what he taps or there. But that's what this board needs to decide is, with these, couple spots, cause most of them are fixed, what we wanna do. Cause they're not terrible, but those 2 tore down houses, I think right now are really our worst.
And then whatever was going on over on Oberg.
Yeah,
Oh, I mean, Anderson.
yeah.
Anderson.
Yeah, and that's, you know, try and take care of that situation, but just those 3 little spots, we gotta decide,
Yeah, I just need to know what letters you want me to send out and to who.
you know. We can sit down and decide somebody, and you were there, I was there, and decide, you know, these ones, this is how we wanna proceed, if they give us, instead of sitting here in a meeting, kinda go back through the notes and look at it. Anybody have a problem with that, or what do you wanna do?
That's fine.
Gotta be dealt with, so
Yeah,
somebody's gotta talk
I'd
about
say
it.
send out a letter.
Okay, well, I wanna sit down and work on the verbiage of what needs to happen, or how do you wanna?
Yeah, we can do
If the
that.
board would
That's fine.
give us
Then
approval to do that, then at least we can sit down and get some letters.
You
out.
guys were there, so you know what you saw.
Okay,
Okay with that?
the one big thing that we gotta have, and it's not cheap, and I have this and everybody can look at it. The DO meter, the dissolved oxygen meter that we've had down in the sewer pond, it's been there, I mean, since before Rod. And I'm having a very hard time getting it to turn on and do the function that it needs to do, and get it to shut off, and it's giving some sporadic readings. I'm getting readings, but my faith in it and its accuracy, I don't have it anymore. Matter of fact, they don't even make the model anymore, so it's been quite a while. To get a new one is going to be $1,109.94. If it was under, that's with freight and everything, if it was under the 500 threshold, I'd bought it, because I'm under the impression that we have to have this read 7 days a week, and we need it.
Are we gonna need somebody to put it in?
No, it's a handheld
handheld.
unit,
Okay.
just like the pH meter. Fortunately, the pH meter is like $400, this is $1,000. But,
Can't just check the probe out, see if it's bad?
check the probe, it's more than just the probe.
Okay.
I actually have to take a button and kind of wiggle around in the electronic display to get it to turn on.
So it's gummed up keyboard and crap.
Yeah, it's old.
It's old.
Yes.
It needs to be
Well,
fixed.
personally, for $1,000, and if you gotta have it, then I'd say just, if you need a motion, I'll make a motion to buy it and be done with it.
I need it, second it.
All in favor?
Alright. True that, we've had no overflows this month. I looked at some of the pump times from the last couple of months to this month. It's hard because of the weather, but we've had more rain between the end of August and the beginning of September than we've had the rest of the summer. Looking at pump times, we had about 2 hours on each pump every day at the East End Pump Station. Right now, we're about an hour on every pump. Is that because of the weather? Is that because of some of the things we took out, the old glass factory and behind Chestnut Street? I hope so. Is it because the pumps are running better? I hope it's everything.
I don't know, do you keep a log compared to like month to month and year to year?
I keep month to month, and it goes back since I've been here. It's on a tablet. You can go in there and look, you know, what we had and do the math on it, you know, from what day. I don't do it every day because I think it's that important, but we know what it's
Just
been.
averages over the year would,
Let's say,
now that it's cleaned out, if you.
well, that's what we did last year and the year before. Started at this flows, ended at this flow, and here's how many gallons each pump run all year long. So, everything else seems to be going pretty good. Haven't had any major problems. I got, up on Anderson Street, we have that one manhole that needs to be repaired, and I got a 2-part epoxy to put in there to try and keep some of the water out of the street. And if we get a couple of those waterproof caps where it's got a hole in it, maybe that keeps some water out of that section as well.
On Anderson Street there where it was coming out the
Storm drain.
storm drain,
Yeah.
what are the plans for that?
Well, about the only thing we can do with that is run a camera up and see if there's anything directly into the pipe, because it was coming out of that pipe, and that pipe's not supposed to be perforated, see if there's a crack. It appears that it's coming out of that home in front, and if that home in front is coming out, to me, it didn't come out last time, which is weird, but it's right over that service line, and it's right where the borough had dug in some storm drains, and it almost leads me to believe there was some sort of settlement, maybe a crack on the line. And I don't think, in my honest opinion, that it's right for the homeowner to have to bear that if it is dug up and proved to be a borough problem that we caused when we put that line in. Without a shadow of a doubt, I'd see the borough repair it, but we're going to have to bore the cost of the investigation of it if we want to know for sure. I'll run the camera out if we can, if it's smooth bore pipe, but if it's corrugated, the camera's not going to go across it. Because I don't want to see that homeowner have to do the investigation process to pay for something that we may have broke 4 or 5 years ago, because it's right in line if it does come out there. So if we're willing as a sewer board to eat the investigative cost, and it's the boroughs, I'm confident the borough will pay for it. If it's the homeowners, then we're gonna have the homeowner pay for it, but it's gotta be definitive on either side. I'd err on the side of the borough broke it, because it's sure walks like it, quacks like it. I mean, it's right there in the front yard, it's right where they come across. So if we wanna have Severance or whomever do something, dig it up, if we think it's that big because we didn't see it the first time, or we wanna wait, whatever, I'm open to suggestions.
Well, the smoke was coming out of pretty good.
That time, yeah, out of the pipe. What blows my mind is it wasn't the time before.
Yeah,
I don't know if it was
didn't
just the moisture or
You'll
what.
see, I think you'll see more smoke it should be in drier, I don't know if it was drier in the bed.
Yeah.
But you'll see more smoke when it's dry out, because water and scents will seal holes.
Yeah, so it could be just a crack on top of that thing that big. I guess at some point in time with these smoke tests and investigations and stuff is the money ventured worth the amount of water you keep out of the damn thing, you know what I mean? If it's the boroughs, we'll pay for it, but we might have to lay the money out first.
So what was the question, is the effort of smoke testing worth the while? I'd say it is.
Well, it's worth it, but I'm just, you know, it was coming out pretty good, but we fixed a crack this big, is it, you know, we spend $1,000, is it, you know?
The tough thing is infiltration can be challenging, it's more of a death by 1,000 cuts.
Yeah, yeah.
Rather than It'd be nice if you found one big open pipe that the stream was running in, like, oh, there it is.
I think we found one or two in that way, but
Got a motion to look at it?
I motion.
Okay. Oh, she did. I'll second it.
All in favor?
Alright, if it comes back being the boroughs, maybe we prove that it was busted, which in all indications, just when I stand there, you're standing there, it certainly looks like the fact that it's coming out that way, right across the joint. We'll have to get home with the property, touch the property owner and make sure he's.
Who's the property owner?
Well, it's either Frank or your dad, I don't know.
It's my dad.
Okay. I'll get home senior and see, just make sure he's alright with it, but I'm fairly confident that it's.
She'll tell you, he ain't paying a dime, and
Alright, as long as he's alright with his digging up his yard, I can't. But, other than that, I think we have a whole lot.
look, she's laughing, he knows what I'm talking about.
Clear out this casino money.
This report?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approval of minutes?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approval of financial statement?
I broke the financial statement up now, so there's two different financial statements. One that Brett can abstain from, and then the rest, Brett can.
Break that out on here for like one that says financial statement, one that says.
Yeah, I
payroll.
can. I'll do that next month.
I'll abstain to everything until it's broken out.
I'll make a motion.
A second.
All in favor? Aye. Approval of invoice report?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
I'll abstain on that until it's all clearly stated.
Review unpaid open invoices?
Darn.
All right, okay. Secretary's report?
I don't really have much. I do have one question for you though. That shipping label that we printed out for that GP meter, they went and tried to pick it up, even though I told them to pick it up here. They tried to pick it up at Duffy's. Are they gonna be trying to ship it back to Duffy's? Do you know?
I don't know the answer to that.
Okay. I don't really have anything except for what's on here.
Make a motion. Second.
So,
All in favor? Aye. Project?
Oh, I do actually have something, sorry. John Olson from, the gas company came in and this is attached to all y'all's stuff. We did our section over there by Hydox and we're supposed to pay for a certain amount of the concrete to get redone.
Yeah.
He wants to know if we wanna use his contractor that's coming in to do all of this. He's trying to get me a price real quick, but he can't get it. It will be under the threshold to go out for bid, but he didn't know if you wanna use his contractor for the concrete or if you guys wanna go out and get somebody else. But they have the 2 half blocks here by the alley. Those are the gas companies. The other 6 blocks are ours. 1 is apparently the boroughs, so they'll pay for 1. We have to pay for 5. So do you guys want to find your own contractor for the concrete? Do you want to allow him to just use his concrete guy, or?
It might be 2 for the borough. I may suggest that, we figure out what the prices are. Brian's done this stuff for years, maybe lean on his experience on what a good price is and let him decide who should do it, what the price, because I don't know what it's worth.
The guy that's
For the
looking,
front, how thick is it?
gonna have to be at least 4 inches.
Yeah, so you should be, you know, the going rate on a bigger slab is like 5.5, 6 bucks a square foot. So it's gonna be higher because it's a smaller area, but.
He's using Zach Hattrick.
He does good work.
That's who he's using.
I would rather stay with the same contractor instead of having 2 contractors.
I think that makes sense, I just,
Well, wouldn't it be cheaper too, cause they're already
Yeah.
there?
Yeah, right.
You know.
they're forming it out and doing what they gotta do, but, you know, I think have Brian be the liaison on it and go with it to make sure it's done the way it needs to be done.
Well, then I just want somebody to go down there with me to figure out exactly what we're gonna pay, cause I thought John Olson said they were gonna do more than 2 half blocks.
Well, I'll go down with you because I'm not sure if the borough, I didn't pay attention, was that one big ass block that was in front of the boroughs and we have what, you know what I mean?
Yeah, okay, we'll look at that next day or so then.
So
Just-
we wanna make a
I'll
motion
give
to
you
go
guys-
with this guy pending our review.
Yeah.
He's already there, so you ain't waiting.
Yeah, I can't see it being, unless it comes in astronomical, I can't see us going without it, but that would be something that would fade it. We could approve at the meeting and then give somebody a chance to look at it, if we don't like it, we can bring it back and have a phone quorum to get somebody or wait for a month.
I'll motion that we go with him, and we do it then pending you guys' approval.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, can one of you call John Olson tomorrow, let him know what's going on?
We'll have to get there and look at it.
Yeah, just when you're done, just give him a call and let him know what's going on, or let me know so I can call him, let him know, cause I told him I'd call him tomorrow just to let you know, let him know.
A meeting here at 9:45.
What's going on?
If you wanna get together after that, we can take a picture.
Then what we get done tonight, we just go down there and take 5 minutes, or you can go down, what you can go down if you want.
That's fine, too, we get out there,
We only take a couple minutes, so, okay.
Projects and repairs, any discussion?
I didn't go up,
Yep.
I didn't go up Chestnut and look, and I will after the meeting, but I see that it's seeded and mulched up there in McClellan. And this looks really good up here where they tamped it all down and stuff, so I'm hoping that's good.
You mean Chestnut, you mean McClellan Avenue?
McClellan, I haven't gone up Chestnut.
Okay, okay, yeah.
Auburn.
Yeah, okay.
So did Severance ever finish McCullen so that we can pay him that
I need to
$50?
go, he finished McClellan, it was mulched and seeded when I drove by.
So is it okay to go ahead and pay him the $50?
Yeah.
Because everybody's been waiting, so you can sign that check tomorrow. Okay.
So all we got left is aerators.
Yeah, and I just got rough estimates, and I just tried to give you guys the information on the 2 other options, because you guys want to try to put some into the budget if we don't get approved for that grant next year. So those are some other options other than the aerators that we already currently have. It's just information for you to look at once I get this guy the actual statistics on the pond. He'll give me some better pricing, and then you can maybe get a better idea of what you want to do.
We need a motion to look into the aerators.
Just looking into them, yeah, just getting prices.
Gonna get prices.
Whenever you guys are ready to put it into the budget or something, that's when you'll need a motion.
Did we make a motion to approve we're gonna get that job down there, going down through the woods?
Yes, you
Yeah,
did.
Okay.
Yes, you made the motion and Brett seconded it.
Okay.
So you get duckweed carp.
Carp, yeah.
We brought that up, I think I was working for the water, I might even been on the board back in the day, and they were sterilized Chinese carp. And I think the Fish and Game Commission had a fit over it.
You have to permit them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there was something that they didn't like
There
at
were
the
a lot
time.
of, there were a lot of hoops we had to.
Yeah, for what they show, they worked really good, but it was like,
Because they
how
have-
are they gonna get out through the weir, through the sand filter, down through and out through the pipe? But the Fish and Game, they were invasive, and they were supposed to be sterilized and
Right.
all that, and it'd be good if we could do it. I mean, it's nature. We're good. Feed the turtles of anything, but I just remembered they were paying in the
Because
ass
Rod
about it
looked
back
into
then.
it, yeah, we looked into it.
And
when
maybe
Rod
things
was
have
here.
loosened up 15 years ago, but
Maybe we should look into it again.
yeah, I don't.
I know I
think
looked
it's-
at prices when I first started. You guys had me look into pricing and stuff like
What
that,
we'll
and we
have to
could
do is
get them,
look
but
at-
Permit,
you have to,
Right, look at
yeah,
what we would need
permitting.
to permit, even maybe talk to Al and see.
yeah, cause Al's now I guess I don't know,
He moved up a
he
step.
moved up at least temporarily above Susan Black. Susan retired. And last I talked to Al is now the Susan. He was gonna move back down, he didn't strike me as a management person.
Well, you get along well with him, do you wanna reach out to him and
Talked to him, but I mean,
ask him like DEP or?
Well,
or one of the-
have you ever used these, familiar with the permitting or what? Cause I just remember,
No, we talked about it last time, I think I remember just said the carp would eat them, or the turtles would eat them, so.
They were pretty expensive too, weren't they?
I don't remember.
I can't remember. I know I got prices on them at one
yeah, they're
point,
big
but
sons of guns, it's not been out.
Well, let's get some prices on it. Huh?
Seen a lot of big ones.
Dead ones.
No, I haven't seen any dead ones. Only one time I caught one in between the first and second pond. And
Well, last year, it was one the size of half one of these tables. Bigger than that first pond did, I was shocked.
I mean, I think it's something, where do we even begin?
I could look into it, I looked into it briefly, I don't remember the details, it's been a while, so just.
I think the biggest part's gonna be permitting, you know, and
No, it's
pricing.
strange, the guy in
I
town-
got the contact for all the pricing stuff. It'd be the permitting that we need to find. cause I can get prices from that guy that I got
Your
prices
fish
from.
bowls and Ernie, when you go down to the boat launch, just bring them in, they can walk on those, a couple loaves of bread, we could have them pond style.
Yeah, I don't know, like if those would be lit event, I mean, can you just put regular carp in there?
Well, from the one thing that sticks in my mind was last time, they had to be sterilized because they didn't want them to have any chance of getting in and taking over a A-class trout pond or stream or whatever. However, that could happen through a 7-foot sand bed and all that stuff. Jump out, roll down the bank and catch water, I don't know. Hawk picks it up, drops it in.
Yeah. So the fish guy in Bradford is interesting, he asked people about, cause he breeds fish for the koi.
Yeah.
And he asked him if he had to do anything special, like, no, don't worry about it.
Breed him in the sewer pond for him and come pick him out, otherwise he eats duckweed. All the
He's-
corn they can handle.
He sells duckweed, oddly enough, so.
Well, koi
Shit,
fish were one of the
we
fish
can
that
buy
would
some.
eat it. Koi and carp will eat duckweed.
If he's looking for a place to buy carp or duckweed,
Well, I don't think you can resell your guys.
bail that shit.
Here's a special.
There was only one other thing, was Hamlin Township, their letter to us.
Well, let me talk on this for a second, because this did come up as a point of conversation for me, and this letter also came to the Borough Council, and I spoke with you guys about it, again, which, apologies. We'll talk about it now. This being a borough-created entity, anytime you guys take on a substantial amount of debt, it needs to be approved basically by the co-signer of the borough, because if we leave, we all just say today, we all resign. It goes back on the borough council. It's the guarantor, basically co-signer. When the water authority, when we went through all this and they took on the $250,000 loan for this, that, and the other, we had to sign on it, and then, that was different. So even if the sewer authority, and nobody's talked about it, was all in favor and we take over Hamlin Sewer, it would still have to be approved by the borough because it's a hefty investment the borough has to carry the debt load on. What we talked about at last night's meeting was creating a exploratory committee with 2 sewer board members and 2 borough council members and a representative from Hamlin Township and their secretary for a purely administrative, this is the information we need from you guys. And being that as a borough committee, we appointed the committee of council members and sewer board members. I'm the council president, and I appointed Ernie and Bart. I talked to Brian about it, and I said, well, would you like to be on? He said, no, Ernie and Bart go on. I'm not on it. Chuck Barr, Chris Barr, Barb, Ernie, and the mayor, and it's just as purely a informational, is this just, what information do we have to have if we do or if we don't want this for the borough? When we sold the water company, we had to go out and have an assessment done as to the value of our system. We had to have engineers come in, and also the buying entity had to come in and have it checked. I know that it had been stated in the past that, oh, just take over a Benvest loan and it's done. We need to be very sure if that's the case, and if it's something that really meets everybody's needs. So this committee from the borough has been tasked to gain information. Sewer board, we can put our own committee together and go in and do our own, and the borough may as well. But at the end of the day, it's coming between both boards, so it makes sense to work together and figure out, does this make sense for the community, everybody? So we're gonna move forward with that. Brianna Howard will be signing committee. If you don't wanna be on it, that's fine, appoint somebody else. I think we'll just all work together. We'll probably use Kelly at some of these meetings, which we'll have to think about what time and pay and who's gonna deal with that as far as, you know, because she brokers all the information from this to there, and also Hamlin's if we need it. But I think as a first step forward, it makes sense to look into it. It may come down that, no, you know, it may come down as this is a slam dunk, but at least it'll give an even platform and a forum for everybody to look at it without having to have official, this is a borough meeting, this is a sewer meeting, because if you don't have a quorum, well, we'll still have to advertise for a work session for the quorum, or for public information. We don't have to have board meetings, and nothing can be done officially at any of those meetings, it'd have to come back to each respective board. So that's kind of where we're at with it. Like I said, if you don't wanna be on it, if you don't wanna be on it, or whatever, the borough will appoint whoever, or he doesn't have to be on it, and we're still gonna have a committee to look into it. But I think this is a good first step forward.
And I did talk to Butch about this a little bit, and he brought up a good question. He said, Hamlin's awful eager to get rid of it.
Absolutely. Well, we know why. We've all been in these meetings. They're only making $2,000 a month and the burden's there. Where our benefit was when we sit down and look at it, 13 years from now, if we play the long game, we make $8,000 a month or whatever the rate is at the time. So that's why we sit down and look at it and weigh it out, pros and cons. If we don't wanna do it, we gotta do it. You know what I mean? But not looking into it is foolish. So we'll look into it, and if we don't wanna do it.
While you're here, Tony, could we put in the clause if we did go for it, that so many years that if something went wrong, that they would be held responsible a little bit for it too?
I mean, you can do whatever you want. I mean, I don't know if they would agree to that. What we had talked about them, what we had talked about them before was if there was grant money out there. You know, we were looking at it, I think they owe $1 million or something roughly, I can't remember.
800,000.
And we were thinking back then, I mean, there's, what I said to you is there's definitely a number where it's worthwhile for you to do it. But like, for example, if you got a $400,000 grant as part of it, then, you know, then your committee could look into that, but that would deal with the finances. So it's definitely, it's definitely worthwhile. It's just a matter of, you know, if you need some grant money to make it work,
They
then you
won't
can
give
make
you
the whole
grants
thing
for that.
contingent upon doing that.
You can't get a grant for that, it has to be,
Kelly ran it down, they
Yeah.
won't get, they
They
won't
won't.
fund the buyout.
Penn-West won't.
Right, they'll fund the project, but not necessarily buying out.
yeah.
And that's the thing where this committee sits down and looks at it honestly and lays out a punch point, to your point on there. Hey, can we hold them on the hook for anything? Can we not? And the two members of the sewer board can bring it back, okay, we had this meeting, these are the questions, what does this board wanna take back to that committee and hey, let's ask, let's put this on. We can always ask for something, your proposition, and they can say no, and we can say no, but it's making the best deal for both municipalities.
Yeah, some type of protection, it could be 2 weeks down the road if you buy the thing, you got $150,000 worth of damage done in the line you just bought 2 weeks.
Well, I think that's part of the reason I said when we had to sell the sewer, or sold, when we sold the water line, we had to have an evaluation, a private third-party evaluation of what we were actually buying, because they're saying, oh, this is shit, we find out it's good, or vice versa. And that was why the state had that mechanism. Do we fall under that? I don't know. Penvest says we can take it, from what I've been told, but is there alphabet soup over here that says, no, you can't, without first meeting this, proof?
What was the per customer price that Kane got bought out for? Do you know that off the top of your head?
Not the customer.
For some reason I thought it was like $8,000.
I think that's a number I heard too.
7 to 8. If you just take the buyout price and the number of customers they have.
No, yeah, I don't know the number of customers. I think the purchase price was like, I think 17 maybe.
17 million.
I think, but I don't remember how many customers.
And it broke down by the municipalities. But I think these are good things that we can sit down, have questions, ask, and throw that, hey, these are questions we want to have asked and things that we wanna look into, and that's why we have a committee. So we don't waste all our business meeting at the borough, and we don't waste all our business meeting at the sewer, and we get the questions out there. Anybody can come to them, but as far as who sits on the board, and it's non-binding, and we make recommendations. It very well may come back that we say, this is a terrible idea for both of us, or this is really good, well, let's do it, and it works for everybody.
Well, I'd say they seem to be in a hurry to try to sell us, and maybe they know something we don't know, so that's why I say we need to have somebody check it out and
Oh,
redo it.
absolutely.
I suspect there's nothing, I mean, it's a new system.
I run it from 15 to 19.
Are you nervous? about
Anything
it?
has problems. No, I'm not nervous about it. Could things break? Yeah. Have things broke? Yeah. On pump stations.
I think they just don't wanna deal with it.
Well, they don't, because they're only making $2,000, and the $2,000 they make, they ship to us, so they're not making anything. But let's look into it and see how it goes. Goes good, maybe we'll be in business in a year or two. Now, this isn't gonna happen tomorrow.
Right.
I would, at the minimum, I would see this committee looking at everything being a minimum of 6 months before we even offer to, hey, we'll buy it for this. Maybe we say, yeah, you owe a couple thousand or a couple $100,000, we'll give you this. You pay off your, you know, we don't do whatever we want. But it's food for thought, and I think we need to look into it, and we're going to. So
Maybe we should sell them our place,
hey,
and then they can ship it to Hazelhurst, they got a plant down there.
well, they got a nice plant. It runs good. I run that one too.
What's the capacity in that?
That was only 100,000.
Oh.
Well, 50,000. It'll do 100. But they can add on. I make a motion to adjourn if you get on.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
I got to find something.